Hi guys. I'm going to make this really quick, seeing as everyone's probably really tired hearing about all the very interesting partners and critical partners and vendors that Brolly have decided to sort of bring on. However, arguably, the most important partner of them all is Monoova. So we actually make the money move. So Monoova essentially automates and facilitates the movement of the funds. So incoming funds and outgoing funds. Sorry. Oh, weird formatting here as well. Sorry. Let me look at my notes. So our bread and butter really is to optimize and to solve complex money movement and complex payment processes. We do it all via API. So we make it really easy for businesses to manage flows, to pay out, and to pay in. As you can see here, you probably can't see the years so well, but we've been around for a while, and when it comes to the real-time payments world. So again, our bread and butter is actually real-time instant payments. We've been alive with real-time payments since 2019, which is pretty much the beginning of real-time payments here in Australia. And we were also one of the first to launch Pay2, something that most of you probably haven't heard of, which is the real-time version of direct debit, of the sort of classic direct debit that we all pay our utilities with, that takes 3-4 days to reconcile and appear on our account. So for a business to be operating something like direct debit, there's actually so many pain points associated with it, especially when the target account that is being direct debited may not have money in it, right? This is critical for a company like Brolly to actually find out as soon as possible when there could be a potential dishonor. So using a tool like Pay2, Brolly are actually able to get an instant response to show whether there's funds in the account. And if there are funds in the account, the funds are then debited in real time and settled in real time as well. And that helps things like cash flow as well, very important for a startup, especially when those funds then need to be relent to someone else, right? So the quicker the funds are in, the quicker they can be relent to someone. And of course, the payout part is also real time. We're Australian based. All our developers are here. We're actually just down the road. So it's about a 5-minute walk down on Kent Street. And we've got about 70 people. A big chunk of those are developers. Again, we're a technology first payments processor. We are fully API driven. So very heavily invested into the tech to allow companies like Brolly to innovate. And then to use those APIs to build wonderful, innovative things. So I guess there's a common myth actually amongst predominantly sort of larger lenders that the old BEX payment rails, which is your traditional sort of direct debit payment rails, direct credit, are better in terms of price, right? And so there's actually a lot of indirect costs associated with operating those old school, those legacy rails that might not come through in the actual per payment fees, but in terms of operational costs and reconciliation, they'll come through. So what Monoova actually come and do, they solve, we come in and we solve the whole manual reconciliation and allocation side of things, where you've actually got to have finance staff sitting, solving inbound payments, who they came from, who they're meant to go out, uploading files into all sorts of portals, from one banking portal to CRM, from CRM to reconciliation engine. We kind of take care of the whole 360 sort of degree reconciliation automation side of things. And we allow entities like Brolly to actually operate a fully, totally automated environment where they actually don't need to have a finance department of 50 people for 100 or 200,000 customers, which otherwise they would probably need to have. Very important when you're a startup, you get going, but even more so important for scalability, which is essential for these guys. So Monoova covers sort of all the payment rails available in Australia, actually. So if, as a business, you need to operate a certain payment rail, you can get it with us. Now, the big advantage is you've got it all in a single integration. Well, almost in a single. Nadoon would probably beg to argue. There's a little bit of work. We've been doing a lot of integration work with Nadoon. The team's been great. And actually, I can confirm there's been a lot of transaction testing as well going on. We can see the funds moving. So yeah, the app's definitely working when it comes to money movement. But all the payment rails in one place, including cards, including what we all know is OSCO real-time payments, including legacy payment rails as well. And what we've done with the legacy payment rails, we've tried to automate as much as we can from it. So your BPays, that's generally quite a manual process. We drive it via API. Direct debit, also, it's not a file-based, ABA file-based direct debit process. It's a API-driven direct debit process using webhooks to inform you when funds have arrived or if there's been dishonors. We also take care of international payments, SWIFT, and have an FX desk as well, wholesale FX. So we're able to collect here in Australia and pay out anywhere overseas if needed. And we've issued over 11 million virtual accounts. So we're able to generate a virtual BSBN account number for every user or a virtual pay ID. We've generated 11 million of those. And we actually process about 70% of all Pay2 volume in the market. And Pay2, something that Nadoon and the team and Ben are going to be using heavily for their products. So there's a couple of, we're actually a little bit of, I guess, a no name for most of you guys, but actually, when you look at the sort of companies that we power and for payments, a lot of you might be a little bit surprised. So we actually power a lot of payments companies, other payments companies. So your Wise have used us for virtual accounts, so your BSBN account numbers. Jumbo, if anyone's ever won the lotto, you'll get a payout into your account, and that'll be through us. So we facilitate those payouts as well. Car sales, if anyone has recently listed a car for sale, you've got the option to get paid via the app, or if you're buying, you can actually pay via the car sales platform. We facilitate that digital wallet. We facilitate that BSBN account number that's being generated by car sales and the movement of funds from sort of like an escrow service, right? It goes into us and then from us to the seller. Our property, FX, big name in the FX world, right? So we take care of the domestic payments here for them. And then sort of global payments companies such as Nuve, State Bank of India. And then also Harmoney, which is a lender that most of you will probably know. We're quite strong in the lending side of things. We power some large lending platforms like loan management software providers as well. But yeah, Henry is actually an interesting one. They were a startup when they came to us, if any of you guys have heard of them. So they actually scaled together with us. They've now become, a leader in what they do, actually, or one of the leaders, definitely. So hopefully, you guys will be up there very soon. So what do we do for, I mean, we've kind of covered this. I'm probably going to run through this pretty quickly. So in simple terms, what do we do for Brolly? We allow them to receive real-time payments, to be able to identify who the funds came from as well. That's really important, right? The whole reconciliation bit. We're able to provide full source account information. Where did the money actually come from? Who sent the money? Full BSBN account number of where the money came from. Full name on the account as well, which is very important for sort of AML, CTF obligations, reporting obligations. But we're also able to then, if required, send the money back to where it came from, which is, if any of you guys have been involved in any sort of finance teams in any other organization, that's a real pain point for a lot of companies. When a refund needs to be done, it's generally a manual process. Usually you have to ask, where did the money come from? You have to ask for source account information, and then someone has to manually process that and reconcile it. We can automate that process, and we have. So a payout back to whoever sent the money can be achieved within seconds if needed. So Pay 2, I kind of touched on it a little bit before, and Pay 2 is a critical part of Brolly's payment capabilities. So Pay 2, as I said, can be thought of as a real-time direct debit, a digital mandate though. So the approval, I'll just move on to the next slide there. It might be a little bit too complex. It can be split into 4 sort of steps. So the mandate creation part, which is the part where traditionally the customer gives authorization for someone to debit their account, right? To take money out of their account. So that's created via the Monoova system and then sent to the client via their bank. So they'll get a pop-up on their internet banking or on the app saying, hi, you've received a Pay 2 agreement from Brolly. Please review and approve. Once the mandate's been authorized, right, it might not be authorized. So in that case, Brolly will receive an instant response to say, hey, look, a mandate hasn't been authorized, and then they can go into the next sort of workflow, try again, or reach out to client, or whatever the workflow might be for you guys for that situation. But once it has been authorized, it then gives Brolly the ability to initiate payments. What that means is 365 days a year, 25 hours a day, they can pull funds from a client account in real time, which is something that doesn't exist or hasn't existed up until a few years ago, right? And unfortunately, not many companies are utilizing it. So it's really nice to see this sort of level of innovation and being used and utilizing the tools that they have on hand. And as I've mentioned in the past, the payment receipt is instant. So in terms of cash flow, it's crucial. Money's in and can be then instantly disbursed back out to somebody if needed. The other thing that we've got the capability of doing, I've also sort of touched on it, is the virtual account capabilities, which includes Pay ID, so creation of Pay IDs. We can create using the Brolly domain, unique Pay IDs. That if funds are then sent to those Pay IDs, again, immediately reconciled, we can get full source account information on those. We can create rules as well. So if someone sends too much money, you might have limitations of how much you want to accept. You can create an automatic rule where the excess amount is automatically refunded back to the account it came from. So that, again, operationally saves huge work for most finance teams. Yeah, I'd say that's we've probably touched on most of those actually. So yeah, hopefully that was quick enough for everybody. And good luck to Brolly.